USA, and good evening, Nepal, India, and Sri Lanka. Let me homage to Lord Buddha first. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I respect to worthy one, blessed one, and fully enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Today my Dhamma topic. Dhamma topic is Dhamma Therapy to overcome day-to-day problems. Actually, I selected this Dhamma topic, as a Dhamma Therapy. I studied this Dhamma Therapy in the Buddhist counseling, so in University of Hong Kong. While I studied there, and we used to this Dhamma Therapy to help the people to solve their problem. Yeah. So I thought if I share this Dhamma Therapy, right, with you also, you may get benefit also. That's why I selected this topic as a therapy. Under this Dhamma Therapy topic, I have pointed out these facts: introduction of Dhamma Therapy, nature of human mind, 7 steps of Dhamma Therapy, and conclusion. Introduction of the Dhamma Therapy. What is a Dhamma Therapy? Dhamma Therapy means the teaching of the Lord Buddha, the word Dharma in Sanskrit and Dhamma in Pali. The root of the Dharma, Dhara in Pali and Dhar in Sanskrit, and word and verb is Dhareti, which means to carry, bear, to put on, to give. The therapy means in Pali Patikara, which means treatment. Dharma refers here to fundamental teaching of the Buddha, which are the law of dependent origination, Paticca Samuppada, the Four Noble Truths, Chatur Arya Satya, the Noble Eightfold Path, Arya Astangika Marga, and 3 characteristic Tilakhana. These are the fundamental teaching of the Lord Buddha. So Dhamma Therapy is one of the tools which help people to recognize their mind, main problems, and give a solution to end the problem. So Dhamma Therapy we can use as a tools, right? Find a solution to solve the problem. And Dhamma Therapy is also a system of the washing or dragging out one's wild thoughts, like a desire, lobha, hatred, dosa, delusion, moha, by developing a spiritual oasis. So the Buddha said that Dhamma is a spiritual medicine. Okay, so Buddha also said this is Dhamma Therapy, or Dharma is spiritual medicine. We can wash our dirty mind. In Chula Dhamma Samadhana Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya explains that the Dharma is as a honey, oil, and sugar, which are mixed together and given to a man who is suffering from the dysentery. After having this medicine, his illness is cured. In the same way, the Buddha in his entire life has given Dharma medicine to his followers and cured all of them from the various problems and comfort them. Therefore, the Buddha is known as a physician, Visakko, Vejo, and surgeon, Salakato. It is also known as way of the counseling and a process of healing through the Dharma components of the Buddha. Thus, the Buddha also known as a counselor. Therefore, the Dhamma Therapy is as the medicine which maintains physical and mental health by updating his or her mind. Yeah, this Dhamma therapy, through the Dhamma therapy, so we can maintain physical and mental problems and mental, updating our mind, right? And why we say the, this Lord Buddha is, physician, like counselor, right? So during the Buddha's time also, Lord Buddha used this dharma to cure their people's problem. So for example, we can take, Lady Sharda Gautami, right? Lady Patachara, right? Angulimala, Sunita Sopaka. So those disciples, they also hear the Dhamma and they also attend the final goal. It means you from the Dhamma therapy. So they cure their mental problem, right? That's why this Dhamma therapy is very important. Nature of the human mind. Okay, human suffering is rooted in the individual's acceptance of the reality, non-self, anatta, and dukkha, sorrow, and impermanent anicca. And untrained mind is inclined to hold on to the phenomena by rejecting changes, which constitute an attempt to satisfy egoistic needs for the ownership. Okay, now why people are suffering? Right? Because they don't like to accept reality. Okay, they don't like to accept a change. However, it will eventually lead to unsatisfactoriness because reality is dependent co-arising. However, because this, people are suffering and they are not satisfied because they don't accept reality. It means changeable, impermanent. Right? We can see, society also we can see, right? People getting old, right? And our skin become a wrinkle, right? Hair become in the gray color, but they try to maintain it, right? But actually, in the reality, we cannot control it. At some time they maintain, but time to time they have to cure it. Right? That's why humans are suffering because they don't accept what is a reality. Okay, that is a human nature. Dhamma therapy help people gain insight to the reality. So Dhamma therapy, help to get insight, get insight what is a reality. So Dhamma therapy help us to this one get insight and we can accept what is the reality. So how we can accept it, right? The arising, changing, and ceasing of all the phenomena without clinging it by cultivating that awareness of the mind and body condition contributing to suffer. And gaining insight to the causes and condition of the external factors, mind condition and state, innermost drives and the habitual action. And also making deliberative and wholesome decisions moment to moment, including acceptance, compassion, more skillful acts, or even the temporarily giving in the weak caution. So Dhamma therapy help us to realize, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. And after we realize this, this insight, and we can accept what is the reality, impermanent change, right? So we can accept it. Okay, there are just seven steps of Dhamma therapy. Before I talk the 7 steps of Dhamma therapy, I want to mention one incident. Now, this stage, my grandpa is not well. Actually, he is admitted in hospital, right? And he is 95 years old, so he's too old. And yesterday, I went to see him in hospital. While I was there, and my auntie also came to see my grandpa. And as soon as she saw my grandpa, she started to cry and she shouted. And her body, whole body is shaking, And after that, after she crying and, in front of relatives also, they also cry. And I told her, be careful when you are shouting in hospital, right? And if you cry like that, if grandpa hear it, how does he feel? I just remind her, and even though she cannot control her emotion, right? Again, she crying and whole body shaking, and slowly again I said, be calm, and you have to care for yourself. If you cry in that way, how you help, how you look after our grandpa? I just suggest her, calm down your emotion, right? And contemplate herself, I told her. And slowly she stopped to cry. So in this case, why I mention means, right? Whenever we get, accidentally when we get this kind of case, so how we can advise them, how we can help them. So at that time, we have to use the Dhamma therapy, right? So if we get some incident like this, so we can use this Dhamma therapy. That's why just I mentioned this incident to before talk this 7 steps. Okay, the 7 steps of Dhamma therapy. First one is introduction and preparation sessions, plus the introduction of the practice of spiritual oasis. Number 2, become aware of the suffering and unsatisfactory condition of the current situation. Number 3, develop a desire to be liberated from suffering. And number 4, question and investigate the, the cause of suffering. And number 4, observe and learn by paying careful attention to how ignorance and rigidity give rise to the suffering by deluding thoughts, emotion, action. And number 6, develop insight and the wisdom to bring an end to suffering by eliminating ignorance and updating the perspective, attitude, and values. Number 7, with insight and wisdom, take the necessary step to bring an end to suffering. So, from these 7 steps, whenever we get complicated issue, and we can use these 7 steps to solve human problem and day-to-day issues. Okay, step 1, introduction and the preparation session, plus the introduction of the practice of spiritual oasis, right? So here, during the introduction and the preparation session, the Buddha shows us that he is only a facilitator to guide and support us on the path to recovery. Our own motivation and effort that will eventually help us to heal and transform us. So first step we have to do, what we have to do means we have to remind one who get, one who get problem, right? As I mentioned, my about my auntie, right? Now she's crying, right? I I told her to calm yourself, right? Calm down herself, right? And after that, when I suggest her, but she has to get motivated to calm down herself, right? Now, step 1, we have to show that client or one who get issue. Okay? We have to show them she or he has to get motivation to calm down herself. Like Buddha, Buddha also said, I can only show the path, right? And you have to go that path, and surely you can attain the final goal. Right? Like that, we also have to show their motivation. We have to get the motivation to calm down their self. Okay? And Buddhism is a religion that takes the view that we are all responsible for our own thoughts and behavior. So whatever we done, so we have to suffer. So Buddhist teaching taught us, right? Teach us, right? If we do, good things, result will be good, and we have to face it, and we have to receive it. If we do bad, that unwholesome things we did means we have to suffer ourselves, not by others. So whenever we are doing or talking or doing something means we have to care for it. In the Dhammapada also, like now in Dhammapada also, like Natang Thamakatang Sado Yang Kata Anutapati Yasa Asumukhang Rodang Vipakang Patisevati. It means now when someone do bad things, she doesn't care. She doesn't care that bad result will come. She doesn't get happily. She do bad things. Now, when result come bad, and she had to accept with tear, right? And second stanza tell us, Tansa kama katang sadu, yang katva nanu tapati, yesa patito sumano vipakang patisevati. It means if you do good things, right? If you do right things, right? Wholesome things, okay? And this result will be good, and you can receive that result with a smile, not with tear face, but smile face you can. It means so we have to whatever we do means we have to accept ourselves, not by others. We have to suffer ourselves, not by others, right? So we have to remind those people who are getting pain. So we have to remind them. Buddha's Dhamma only help and educated us to become aware of the problem and cause of the problem. So Buddha teaches us. So we have to aware. Always we have to awareness. Whatever we are doing, whatever we are having the problem, we should awareness there. Okay? To facilitate the arising awareness, mindfulness to build the spiritual oasis where there would be peace and clarity. So if we have awareness, we are not going to do such a bad things which lead us to suffering. Right? This is important because one must first need to acknowledge and learn to live with the present situation, however painful, before she can transform and move on to other more satisfactory condition. Okay, so it is important to acknowledge, right? To live the present situation. At present, we have to live, okay, with mindfulness, and we can reduce our problem. Okay? Dealing with emotion skillfully. So how this your emotion, how it act quickly. Emotion always have a feeling of urgency and importance associated with them. The person experiencing the emotion always feels that she needs to do something in accordance with the direction set by the emotion. So according to emotion, we are acting. You are doing something. Right? Like I told you, my auntie, immediately, suddenly she cried, she shouted, and whole body is shaking. Why? Because of emotion. Because she cannot control her emotion. That's why it happened. Emotion also influence and distort our the perception of the world and ourselves. So emotion, change our perception. Okay, and if we change the perception, we cannot recognize what is a good and what is a bad. Excessive emotion would hinder the mind ability to perceive and think clearly and rationally. So if excessive emotion we have, we cannot think properly. What is a good, what is a bad, what is a right, what is a wrong. We cannot think. Okay, just I told you my auntie's right incident. She doesn't think why. She doesn't think. Just immediately she cried, and she doesn't think. Yeah, in hospital, many patients, okay, they may get distraction. She doesn't think because she doesn't have ability because she has a lot of excessive emotion. We need to take good care of our emotion. That's why we need to take care of our emotion. We have to think what is the situation, our emotion. Dealing with emotion skillfully. The Buddha observed that ignorance is the root of suffering, and eliminating ignorance through the development of knowledge and wisdom is the remedy to eliminate suffering. Right? And Buddha said, right? Buddha shows, main cause of suffering means ignorance and craving. Right? So here, if we are having, having suffering is because of ignorance. And to eliminate that ignorance, we have to develop knowledge and wisdom. Therefore, to handle emotion intelligently, one need to pay careful attention to them in order to develop the necessary knowledge and wisdom. So we have to pay attention our emotion, right? And if we develop our wisdom and knowledge, we can eliminate that emotion and we can suppress emotion. And building a spiritual oasis, various forms and meditation. So from, developing spiritual oasis also, we can control our emotion and we can eliminate our suffering. Now here various kind of meditation, how we can do it, right? Eating and drinking tea. Okay, meditation we can do while we are eating. We eat mindfully. And while we are drinking, we can drink mindful. Okay. Now these days, right? Now these days, most of people, right? While they are eating and they watch movie, they watch TV, and they play the phone, right? They don't have a mindful. While drinking, also same. Okay? Mindfulness of the in and the out breathing. So we can do mindfulness in and, in mindfulness breathing out and breathing in as we can do. And body scan, sometimes we can body scan also to control and calm down ourselves. Okay. And mindful walking and the working. So while we are walking, and we can work mindfully, and while we are doing something at home, in office, somewhere, right? Mindfully we can do it. And while we are doing mindfully, and we don't mistake it. Okay. Compassion meditation. We also can do the compassion meditation. Okay. And we can compassionate oneself and others also. And religious chanting the name of the Buddha and Bodhisattva and mantra, right? We can chant in Sanskrit, Mahamangala Sutta, Ratna Sutta, Kelaniya Metta Sutta. We can chant to calm down ourselves. And Amitabha Buddha and Avalokitesvara and Om Mani Padme Hum. These are the we can chant and we can calm ourselves and others also. Okay, this is the first step. First step, how we can help the people. One who get panic, one who's suffering. And step 2, become aware of suffering and unsatisfactory conditions of the current situation. Reflect on the suffering and the unsatisfactoriness of the current. So in this step, we have to reflect what is the suffering, what is the situation, why we are unsatisfactory, why we are unsatisfied, right? And situation and get motivated, right? And it was situation according to situation, and we have to get motivated and we have to find why and what is the reason for the suffering, why we are suffering. Okay. Now here I hear mentioned the Vittaka Santhan Sutra for the advice. So in this sutta also, this sutta from the Majjhima Nikaya. So in this sutta also, Lord Buddha, this sutra, Lord Buddha also showed a 5 method to eliminate defilements. Now 4th method, Lord Buddha showed there. So gradually how we can find out the cause of suffering. Okay, now in this step 2 also we have to find the cause of suffering. Okay, why we are facing difficulties and why we are, facing this suffering. Develop a more healthy and disciplined way of living. So we have to control or to eliminate our suffering. We have to make good behavior also. And develop the habit to practice mindful breathing. So always we have to practice mindful breathing. It means we have to stay present. It means we have to stay mindfully. Quantify and qualify suffering, the 2 dots of the suffering. This is according to Arrow Sutta of the Sayutta Nikaya. The first dot, objective, unavoidable, stressful and painful events or situations, such as painful event in life that we have no choice but just have to live with. Events like a sickness, old age, death, and painful experiences that had already happened. So here, this kind of problems we cannot avoid. We have to face it. Like my grandpa, I told you my grandpa in hospital. Now he is too old, right? Now his sickness, old age, we cannot change. Have to face it. Okay? The second dot, subjective and emotional suffering that arise as a result of the first dot. So now this one, so emotion we are suffering because of this first dot. Because of this incident we are suffering. Because we cannot avoid that one. And step 3, developing a desire to be liberated from suffering. Okay, in the step 3, now we have first one, we recognize, we establish how we have to face it. And second one, what is the cause of suffering? We recognize suffering. And step 3, developing a desire to be liberated from the suffering. So we have to develop the way how we have to liberate from the suffering. Okay, helping people to realize it is worthwhile to eradicate suffering and be committed to put one's own effort in it, right? So we have to realize our suffering, and we have to understand. We have to understand. So it's worthy to eradicate suffering. Okay, it transforming the second dot. So this is the second dot into second dot. She need to understand that there are cause and conditions to have pain and suffering. We should understand, we are having suffering, there should cause and condition. Because of cause and condition, we are having difficulties and suffering. However, there are some pain and suffering that no need to continue according to Arrow Sutta of the Sayutta Nikaya. So now cause and condition there. So if we understand, right, cause and condition, and we can stop our suffering. Because how? How we can stop is we realize, right? Now old age, right? Old age, sickness, we cannot avoid it. We have to suffer it. So in that way, we can, according to your first thought and second that we realize, and we can reduce our suffering. Okay? The emotional suffering that arises due to the subjective perspective, attitude, and values, which face due to the loss something and the someone. Okay, now emotion will arise, excessive emotion arise because of the first thought. Because someone, now like my grandpa, right? Now he's suffering a lot. So if we lost him, we also suffer. But what to do, right? It's nature, right? One day we also have to die. So in this way, we have to eliminate our suffering and we have to comfort like this. One should know that being an imperfect world, there will be always be imperfection. And we should not expect that everything that we do to be a perfect and just right. Yeah, sometimes according to nature, right? Human nature, we make mistake a lot. It's okay, right? As a human, yeah, we all make nature. So we have to think in that way, and we have to comfort that. Okay? If one update one's perspective, attitude, and values in the more wholesome way, like understanding the law of dependent origination, tilakana, so on. So if we know the reality of this samsara, okay, we can update our perspective, attitude, values, and we can reduce our pain. Developing a compassionate attitude towards oneself and understand that suffering need not to continue. So we can understand developing compassionate towards oneself and others. And we understand, right? So because of thoughts, we no need to continue our suffering because that is a nature, we cannot stop it. Eliminating suffering is a worthwhile objective that is achievable. So if we can eliminate suffering, that is great. Step 4, question and investigate the cause of suffering. Okay, now in step 4, we have to investigate and question what is the cause of suffering, right? Help people to investigate and understand the cause of the suffering based on the relationship between the thoughts, emotion, and action. Okay, we have to investigate. So, our feelings, what is our emotion, and what is action. So, due to the emotion, action, and thoughts, we are getting suffering. Just we have to, investigate. We have to examine. With his her experiences and perspective of the understanding the event, the reaction that he is going through are logical and natural because mind is the forerunner to all things. Because of the mental, because of our mind, because of mind, we are, everything we are having. Sometimes we are having, sometimes we are sad, sometimes we are, happy. It's deep in our mind. However, our mind can be updated, but we can change our mind. With new perspective and understanding of the event, our emotion and subsequent action would change accordingly. So if we change or if we update our mind, we can change, we can control emotion, and we can eliminate our suffering. One should restrain the mind, which Dhammapada show us that. So, okay, Sakhu Sangoro Sadhu Sadhu Swata Sangoro, like that, right? We should restrain our sensation, right? Sense. If not, always getting distraught and suffering. The cause of stress and suffering. Therefore, we need to investigate, pay careful attention, and become aware of what is happening in our mind in order to find out what is my deep-seated attachment that is restricting flexibility and resulting in rigidity in thinking and behavior. So always we have think, we are having the suffering. Why? Because of this too much attachment. Rigidity thinking. Because of that, we are having suffering. And again, we have to investigate. Is it because of the habit, attachment, thoughts, and emotion? So we are having that, lot of suffering means. We have to think because of our habit, because of too much attachment, because of our, bad thoughts and emotion. We have to, we have to investigate. We have to examine. time to time. And we can control our pain and we can eliminate our suffering. How is this rigidity in thinking and behavior leading to suffering? So we also have to examine how this rigidity thinking and behavior lead to suffering. Now, step 5, observe and learn by paying careful attention to develop an understanding of the relationship between the mind and suffering. So we have to observe and pay careful attention. Okay, mind and mind between mind and relation between mind and suffering. Because of mentality, how we can get suffering. We have to observe it. To help people to investigate and understand the cause of the suffering based on the feelings, perception, pollution, and action and responses. So most of time we get problem because of our feeling. Always feeling means we want to enjoy always, like a feeling means pleasant feeling. Mostly we like a pleasant feeling. We don't like unpleasant feeling. We attach to it, right? And perception also similar. Pollution also an X. So it action response. So because of this one also, we are having suffering. Okay. Buddhist concept of the person, the 5 aggregates forms sensation, perception, thoughts, pollution, and consciousness as a framework to help him or her develop a better understanding of the working of our mind. So Buddhist perception, so we say, right, our human body is made by the 5 aggregates. So if we know, right, our human body is, made by the 5 aggregates. If we realize that one, there is no attachment, right? If attachment is not there, there is no suffering. Okay, we have to observe and we have to examine in that way. From this example, so how the mindful process can help to deal with our anxiety, pain, distress, and skillfully. So if we stay mindfully and we can understand what is going on our body, what is feeling on our body, so we can understand. So we have to to distress it, we have to carefully examine and we have to observe it. Our minds and action influence and determine our well-being. So mind, always mind is, everything is, according to Buddhism, whatever is happening it's because of the mind, right? The mind is the forerunner to all things. It directs and makes them. If someone speaks and acts with the deluded mind, suffering will follow him as the wheels follow the footsteps of the animal that drew the cart. Right? This is a Dhammapada, right? Dhamma from the Dhammapada, first sutta of the first stanza of the Yamakavaka. Right? And mind is the forerunner to all things. It direct and make them. If someone speak and act with the pure mind, happiness will follow him as the shadow follow the body. It means good. If bad thoughts and if something do with the bad thoughts, right, result will be bad. Right? That's why our mind. So we have to control our mind. We have to examine what is the situation of mind. So mind can do good things and also bad things also. Okay, so we have to control of our mind, and we have to lead to correct path. Investigate, pay careful attention, and become aware of what is happening in our mind. So we have to investigate what is the situation of our mind, what is going on our mind. Okay, if we carefully aware it, and we can acquire the taste of the freedom, tranquility, and peace of the mind. So sometime in the free time, we have to, aware of what is the situation of our mind, and we have to think. So what is going on in the free time, right? And if we do it, right, we can acquire freedom of the, freedom, tranquility, and the peaceful in our mind. Step 6, developing insight and wisdom as to how to bring an end to suffering and the cause of suffering. So step 6, we can develop insight and wisdom, and how we can end the suffering. Okay, we can do in the step 6. In this step, we have to examine the context and assumption of the thoughts, perspective, attitudes, and value that we hold. So in this step, we have to observe. Okay, we have to investigate what is our thoughts going on, about our perspective. Is it good or bad? And attitude. So our attitude is is right and wrong, and the value also we have to think. Okay, that means we have to think and we have to examine. With a better understanding of the context and assumption behind the thoughts, perspective, attitudes, and values, drop them all together. So now, if we update, that newly we update the thoughts in the good way, the perspective also we update, and we attitude also update. Okay? And after that, we can, bad attitude, bad thoughts, and sufferings, we can drop out. Okay, all together. For example, man should always be on top of his emotion was built on the context that man should always be strong, look after householder expenses, or women should always be on the top of her emotion. Women always look after the housework and look after the family members. So because of perspective, we always think like men should go for the work and earn money and look after family, right? We think our thoughts there, right? But actually, present situation or that is actually not happening, right? Men also can go and women also can do the, housework also and office work also can do. But way of thinking we have to change, right? However, such a perspective is only culturally based and it is in many respects emotionally and unwholesome. Okay, so in that way also, if we don't update our perspective, always we also most of the time this perspective and thoughts, right, and emotion most of the time will it's lead us to this wrong path. That's why we have to update perspective, thoughts, and this is attitude. Okay? Therefore, it is a perfectly fine for him or to feel distress while facing the tragic deaths or separation from the son. Okay. Therefore, for someone, we should have a distress. We should eliminate the stress. Okay, we have to face it, but we can understand that is a nature, like old age and sick and death. We cannot avoid it. We have to understand that one, right perspective, and we can reduce our pain. And step 7, with insight and wisdom, take the necessary to bring an end to suffering. Right? In the step 7, we can develop insight and wisdom, and we can take necessary way to eliminate suffering. In the step 7, with the updated thoughts, perspective, attitudes, and values, he or she advised to apply them into his her daily life to bring about the transformation. Now, if he or she update perspective, thoughts, attitude, right, easily they can apply in good way, in right way, and they can transfer themselves. Okay. After that, the transformation just happens slowly without much effort as we develop a better understand of the thoughts, perspective, and attitude. So we no need to take more effort. It slowly happen because already we have now updated our perspective, thoughts, and attitude. So it's automatically happen. Okay. All these transformations happen as a result of the deeper and the more wholesome comprehension of the original problem as seen from the perspective of the Dharma. So why this easily we can transfer. Easily we can deep wholesome comprehension we already develop. Right? That's why we can transfer this, we can eliminate suffering easily. That all phenomena arise from the causes and conditions, change those phenomena will cease to be accordingly. So we understand, right? This phenomena, all phenomena, changeable, impermanent, right? So accordingly, this changing. We understand this. After understanding, we don't think too much, and we don't have too much attachment. What will happen? So we think, yeah, that is the nature of world, nature of the samsara, it happening, and we can reduce our pain, and we can reduce our suffering. Therefore, following this Dhamma therapy methods, we are able to face easily our day-to-day issues. So, if we understand the method of Dhamma therapy, right, way of Dhamma therapy, we can easily face our day-to-day issues. We are able to manage our anxiety and work stress in simple manner. So easily we can, whatever happening, whatever is stressful, what is anxiety, because easily we can face it because we understand now what is the reality, right? What is the reality of the samsara? We understand. So that Dhamma therapy also we know the way of the Dhamma therapy, how we can cure our suffering, how we can eliminate our suffering. So easily we can do it. More importantly, we have to continue to develop spiritual oases which help us to maintain a mindful and clean mind. So always we have to maintain meditation. We have to practice meditation, and we have to develop mindfulness. And we have to learn to stay in a present moment. Then what will happen? We can enjoy happy life being present moment, especially with our family. That is, this one is 7 steps, last steps. And conclusion. Dhamma therapy is very effective in helping human alleviate suffering that we experience in our life. Through the building of the spiritual oasis, we are able to see nature of our mind and learn to control it. So Dhamma therapy. So after you learning the Dhamma therapy or developing the spiritual oasis, we can understand, we can know how to see problem, how to eliminate problem, right? We can deal easily. As a result, we learn to become a mindful after content, working of our mind. So after we learn, spiritual voices, and we become mindful, and we can live content life also. Through the evolution of the thoughts, perspective, attitude, and values that we hold, able to let go of the attachment and develop new wholesome perspective, attitude, and values. Okay. Now we update already our thoughts, perspective, attitude, and value. So we can able to let go all what we have attachment, right? What we holding attachment, something holding. So we can let it go easily because already we update our mind. And with this new perspective, attitude, and values can develop a more wholesome and healthy way of life, right? So because of this good new perspective, attitude, and values, we can develop wholesome and healthy way of life. We can live healthy way of life. Understanding under fundamental Dhamma link, love dependent origination, Patisampada, Tilakkhana help to people effectively deal with their psychological problems. So understanding the fundamental Dhamma like a law of dependent origination, right? Patisampada, Tilakkhana, and after that, that Chaturai Satya, Four Noble Truth. If we understand, right? If we understand that one, so people effectively deal with their psychological problem. Okay, then practicing various kinds of the meditation, we are able to stay at the present moment and help us to solve our day-to-day problems. So practicing meditation, and we stay in the present moment, right? We can help and we can solve our day-to-day problems. So this is a Dhamma Therapy method. So if we learn Dhamma Therapy, if we follow, easily we can eliminate our suffering, and we can live happily. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much, Reverend Sharda, for this wonderful speech. I hope everyone can see. Can you hear me?
Yes, Venerable, I can hear you.
Right, so you can stop sharing, and then you will be shown. Okay, please, everyone, please show the post the questions. If you can share, stop sharing. Okay, now you are right over here. Okay, please show the questions. So
I cannot see the questions.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear Venerable.
Yeah. So this is an interesting topic actually. You said you learned this one in uh, in Myanmar,
No,
in
in Hong
Thailand,
Kong.
in Hong Kong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Hong Kong University.
Okay. Yes, in Hong Kong University. So how did you practice this in day to day life?
Thank you, your question, Venerable. Now, how do I practice the day-to-day life means, sometime as a monastic nun, right? Sometime while we are at temple, right? And our chief nun shouted at me sometime, right? And without doing the mistake, also sometimes we are old age, they are shouting, right? And I don't get immediately angry for that because because of old age, they have also, that emotion, that they cannot control emotion and they shout at me. So I just compassionately I accept it, right? And I don't say anything. I just smile and what she said and just accept it. It means I have compassion towards her, right? And I can calm myself, right? So if I also shouted at her, right? Our emotion, I cannot control emotion. So it means if I shout at her, so at that time also I can contemplate myself. Do I, when
Right.
she is shouting at me, so do I do I stay calmly? Like that, just I contemplate myself and I don't reply anything. Just accept it as whatever she said, whatever. But if I get mistake, I said, yeah, I did mistake, so no problem for me, and I don't do next time mistake. I can say that way. In that way, so I can apply this method.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have ego, right?
Yes, yes,
So
Venerable.
when they have ego, so it is always difficult to confront with the others. So it is
Mm,
better we keep quiet. So
yes,
let them show off their ego and we be quiet, and that will also give them an opportunity to open up themselves
yes.
with your kindness and compassion. I
Mm,
really like your presentation and the theories. In day to day life, especially today, a lot of people are stressed. During the
yes,
pandemic, a lot of people were confined to their homes, and they also had a lot of stress, especially the young kids who are at
yes,
home. They don't meet their friends and they don't go to school, so they meet a lot of challenges. Parents themselves have a lot of issues because of that, because um, now we have been there like for quite a few years, and then some of those traits are still there. And now people are used to the online platforms, and now
yes,
when
yes.
they are encouraged to go to the school, they are also not so interested now.
Yes, yes, yes.
So during the pandemic, I think you also must have encountered a lot of challenges like this. So how did you apply this Dhamma therapy for those people who are stressed up because of the pandemic?
Yeah, during the pandemic, sometimes those people who undergoing this problem, right? Most of the time, so we just online we do the meditation and we discuss what is going on. So at that time, however, many issues there. Sometimes food issue, sometimes they cannot go and they cannot meet the friends, right? At that time, just I I suggest them to, that is opportunity to develop spiritual oasis, right? We cannot meet the people, but we can develop spiritual oasis. So we can do the meditation, right? And after doing the meditation, right, and they can hear the Dhamma discussion themselves. So now in the online, right, many program online, they can do it. And from that also they can reduce stress there, right? And sometimes they cannot now, they cannot talk with them. Means sometimes, online classes they can do it. After doing online class also, they can reduce their stress. And not only that, and I also can suggest them to, yeah. Now this is opportunity to spend time with family in pandemic time, because they are, at home, right? And they also they can spend the time and they can do the meditation together also, and they can share what they have idea, what is going on their mind, and they can talk that way. And whatever problem they have, they can reduce, right? In that way, just I suggest them, that is opportunity, you have to follow it. If there is a will, there is a way, right? In pandemic, they can do many things, especially spiritual development things, they can do it. And just I suggest in that way.
I think that's a great suggestion, because when you have an opportunity to meet your family, this is a good time. Yeah,
Yes,
that's right. When you have a meeting with the family, just enjoy that, right?
yes,
And so
yes,
be with the
yes,
family, and
yes,
that's very true. So
yes.
my other question, like, you have been traveling back and forth from Nepal to Sri Lanka, so you must have seen different situations, especially in Sri Lanka. Situation was very fragile, and so do you have anything to say to our Sri Lankan people who are so much stressed due to economic reasons, and also due to pandemic related issues?
Yeah. Now, this economic issues and, many problem occurs, right? So in that time, so we learn the Dhamma, right? We have to use that Dhamma to learn. We have to, how we have to live the way. So this is everything. Lord Buddha said everything impermanent, right? Now, before when we were there, right? How they see Sri Lanka is peaceful country, it's like a heaven, right? So it happened because it's impermanent, nothing permanent. Sometimes now they are facing the issue that also not permanent. Slowly, that also can maintain, right? But we should have a patience. They should have a patience, and they have to do it without fighting. That also one kind of nature, I think, right? So everything impermanent. That can will happen other country also. So at that time, what we have to do, taking example, Sri Lankan people, right? So everyone has to, sometimes it may face other country people also, right? And especially now, if now the Sri Lanka is small country, right? Everything depends from the import, right? Because of that difficulties. But if they hard work, right? If they hard work and do this proper job, slowly it can maintain. So in that way, so according to Dhamma that's changeable, it also can change, impermanent, right? That's why we have to pay son, and we have to do what you have, their obligation they have to do for country and for family. Slowly they have to do it. So it also can change. That is
Yeah,
a suggestion for me.
yeah, I
For
think
me.
that's also a great advice, because um, you have to be patient. You also have to.
Yes.
I think this is a blessing in disguise for people to find out, explore their own potential capabilities. Like, what can we
Yes.
do to stand on our own? When you don't have
Yes.
imports, you just have to use your backyard, home backyard, plant something, grow something
Mm.
there, right?
Yes.
And also
Yeah.
share what you have with the rest of the people community, and
Mm.
also don't over waste, don't this consumerism, like over consumerism, you have to be
Mm.
careful, right? And
Yes.
so I think this is a great opportunity to practice Dhamma, as you said. Just be simple
Mm.
and be
Yes.
content with what you have, and also share with your community. This way, I think you all can be happier. And especially,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed like during the last few maybe months or so, there have been growing tendency in the people among the people to be more aggressive than ever. Like you feel very angry, you easily start to fight with others, and also people can break a lot of sila because of that. How
Yes.
how does Dhamma therapy help them to maintain their inner peace, to be kind and compassionate? And when the whole world is burning, how can you maintain yourself as a peaceful person?
Yeah, that is a good question, Venerable. Um, Now, if someone aggressive, like now, out myself, I can get example myself, right? If I get angry, right? So what is happening? Our, my body, right? So if anger means I cannot control emotion, means something distraction, yeah, destroying myself, right? So first of all, we have to think if I get angry, so not not get benefit for me, right? If angry, right, it means destroying myself, burning myself. Okay, if angry means, and some people, if I'm always angry means people doesn't like to associate me. Okay, and family people also ignore me. Yeah, but whenever thought, whenever do something is always getting angry. Is people doesn't like, even the family members also doesn't like to talk me, doesn't like to associate me. So we have to think if I aggressive, so can I solve the problem? No, because again, cannot, it means we cannot solve the problem, but getting more and more problem, health, mentally problem and physically problem is more. So at that time, so we have to understand the aggressive is not good for people. That at that time, so we have to calm. So why I aggressive? What is the reason? Now, sometime now, if we talk about situation of Sri Lanka, now people has economic problem. So getting angry, we cannot solve the economic problem, right? We have to find out what I can do it, right? As you said, we can plant something, and we can grow something, vegetables, right? And we can eliminate, we can eliminate and we can reduce economic problem in the family. In the family, if also in society, people, if we think in that way and doing us that way, they can solve their problem, right? And they have to control their angry, right? Because if they are angry, getting angry more means they also getting sick. Sickness will be there. And if they don't have a money, how can they cure? Right? More, problem, it means increase more and more. So in that way also we have to think, right? And according to our Buddhist teaching, right, we should be compassionate. So we should be compassionate towards oneself and others. In that way, if we think, right, what is the reason to cause of suffering, how we can solve it, and after that we can solve that one and ourselves also calm, and we can suggest to the others also calm. In that way, we can solve the problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And so, how is the situation in Nepal?
Nepal, no problem in rebel.
Mm,
It still is good here.
okay.
Yeah, I think, if we don't careful, right? Now taking example of the Sri Lanka, we should have to careful. right? This our Nepal also a small country, right? We also always, I also, just I suggest to my family also, right? So I cannot suggest to the, society people, but I suggest as family people, don't waste a lot, right? Wasting a lot things also. We are getting, we are facing the economic failure. We are facing the problem of economy, right? Be careful taking example from, someone getting suffering and taking that example, we can maintain, right? We can maintain ourselves and we stop that problem.
Yeah.
So it's still is good situation.
Yeah, I remember during the earthquake situation, I think the country was having a very hard time. And then,
Yes.
so maybe, yeah, it is true. Like we have to take care of others, we have to help others.
Um,
And
yeah.
during the pandemic, when there are no tourists,